The gun story from Gerard, so like we're all worried you're going to pull the gun out and put it on the table.
No, I flew in on a plane, so no guns.
They usually don't let you do those kind of things.
So this is it's an amazing film, you know, a really amazing story. One of the things we've been talking to Michelle and Gerard about is, you know, the authenticity factor of it and how they both got to spend time with you and Lynn. I mean, obviously, the first question everybody would want to ask is, how accurate did you feel that this was, and were you happy with the overall presentation?
Okay, did any of you here happen to buy the book or get the book? Or I believe we have some books to hand out. Is there some books? Okay, we'll see if we've got some books, but if not, you can buy the book. The movie is based on the book, and what makes it all messed up is the timeline. They took 30-some plus years and messed up the timeline. There's a couple things in the movie that is not true. The number one thing is on a bad day, I never did go back to drinking or doing drugs ever in 23 years. Totally not true. Why they put it in there, I don't know. A guy that works with me a lot said to me, he said, well, Sam, he says, don't. Just let it go, because at least that person that slips up and goes back, at least they know that they can walk back out of it again. But I didn't like that. But otherwise, on the overall picture, I was very well pleased with the movie.
Well, and we heard that maybe the car wasn't rocking enough.
Right, that was true. That was true. That was what me and my wife said. They shamed us on that picture. They shamed us on that part.
So you go through these, you know, this amazing transformation in your life, and you go through these events, and you take up this crusade. What's the feeling like when you hear that Gerard Butler, the fantasy of all women, is playing you?
I thought I was. To be honest with you, I didn't even know who Gerard was. Yeah, I mean, I'm not into all that stuff. You know, I'm a country guy.
Sure.
And I didn't know who he was. I had to look on the internet. Now, my daughter knew who he was, but yeah. My wife said I'm still better looking than him. So.
Yeah.
Were you concerned when they optioned the movie rights for the book? Were you concerned that they were going to?
No, I owned all the rights, and I still own. I still own my TV rights and all that stuff. When I wrote the book, when I sold the book rights, I only sold the rights to that one book. I have another book that's coming out soon. But I believe the question was, when I sold my life rights for the movie pre-2008, they don't own my entire life rights. They only are only purchased from me pre-2008. Was I concerned? Absolutely. But you know, there was a couple little things along the way that I was concerned with, but I told him if it wasn't changed that I would boycott the movie totally. But one thing that I had going good for me was the screenwriter, Jason. Jason spent about a year with me, and I mean, Jason wanted it as close as he could get to the truth. The action scenes in the end of the movie are amped up. I mean, I'm the first one to tell you that. I mean, they are amped up. But the first part of the movie of who I was 30-some years ago was not amped up at all. If anything, they left out who I truly was. I wasn't a good person.
So what does it feel like when all the PR refers to you as a flawed character? How does that make you feel?
I still think I'm kind of messed up, but that's what Jesus Christ is for. And I think any interview that I've ever done, I don't try to hide my face. I don't care where I'm at. If I'm in a clubhouse, if I'm in a bar room, or wherever I'm at, I don't hide my faith to no one. I mean, when I walked the red carpet in Canada and stuff at the film festival, they asked me and stuff, they said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, what do you think knowing that God is real? Because I'm the first hillbilly to walk the red carpet. There's got to be a God. So I take every advantage I can to speak out my faith.
Go ahead.
What it seemed in the movie they did a really good job of like showing you one way in Africa,
right,
and one way in America.
That's something you got to learn to turn on and off.
Okay, so you really do that.
Yeah, you have to learn to turn it on and off. Yeah.
Has your wife ever went over that?
Yeah, my wife has been over several times, but I don't like to waste money. And I mean, her call is here in the U.S., sure. And I mean, money has never come to me easy.
Right.
So I don't like to waste it just for her to go on a vacation.
Right.
If we want to get away or something, we'll hop on the motorcycle and get away for a few days.
Can you talk about that moment, that first moment where you found God and what it was like finding God in your life?
What it showed in the movie definitely did happen. It's just the timeline.
It's about that
really, well, the timeline was messed up.
Okay.
The truth, when I first knew I was going to change my life, was in Orlando, Florida. I was in a bar fight, turned out to be a shootout. I almost got killed, and on the way home that night, I made up my mind. It's done. I'm done. And if there's one thing I share, okay, with everyone, I speak on drugs and alcohol all the time. No matter who you are, if you want to stop an addiction, it's all right here. It's all right here. You know, God can do anything, but God can only help us through a problem. And a lot of times we want to think that God is like a genie in a bottle. But if you got an addiction, you got to first make up your mind, I'm not living this life no more. And that's what I did. It wasn't until 4 years later that I ended up saying, hey, I'm done. I'm going to spend the rest of my life walking with the King, you know. But I went home that night. I said to my wife, I said, we're moving. And she said, why? And I said, somebody's going to kill me and I'm going to die for no reason at all. And I don't have a problem with dying, but I have a problem with what I'm going to die for.
Your wife and your daughter were a big influence. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, my wife was like the rock that held everything together, and she was the one that would always, you know, push me back up there again. My daughter, when it was true in the movie where you'll see her getting upset with me, she got very upset because I put everything into Africa, you know. And as I said earlier, money didn't come to me easy, you know, and I sold about everything that I had, gun collection, down to a camper, down to motorcycles, fishing boats. I sold everything to feed the people of Africa. And she actually did say to me several times, Dad, you love them Africans more than you love me. But when she was 17 years old, she graduated, and she come to me and she said, Dad, we got to talk. And I'm like any other parent. I think I know what she wants. You know, I thought she wanted to go to college. And so I started telling her, well, listen, I'll get money together, we'll put you in college. And she said, no, I don't want to go to college, I want to run your nonprofit. And I said, what? And she said, well, you remember when we didn't have much money and we would go to the warehouse and we'd go through the clothing at the warehouse so you could get you some clothes. And I said, yeah. She said, I was right beside you getting mine. And she said, Dad, you remember for a couple of years when there wasn't much food on the table? And I said, yeah. She said, I ate it that